Good afternoon, and welcome to another glamorous version of Diatribes from the Voice of Doom. Now here's your gaudy and glitzy host, Voice of Doom. Hello. Going to Disneyland. So I figured I'd dress the part. Got a little fan mail today saying I should say what beverage I'm drinking before every episode. Could help. And I agree, so I'm drinking coffee because I have to go to work. And I'm never one to imbibe anything before work. Very good about that, he said sarcastically. So I figured I'd talk a little bit about the latest topic du jour, Disneyland, whatever. I don't know why I should even say anything again, and I don't plan on talking about this very much anyway, because I've already said it. I'll give you a little show of my ensemble, though. Put it down right there. Little springtime motif. I like color. I like the soft clothes. You know. Mix it up a bit. I'm going to do this a little more. Does it mean I have to talk about transgenderism all the time? Just means, you know, why not? It's fun. Anyway, keep thinking when I was 5, I knew I was kind of transgender when I was 5. Now, I didn't know at the time that it was even possible. And I've already said all this before. If you go back to my early episodes, Transgender Bathrooms Part 1 and 2 pretty much explain it all, because back in 1965, I'm telling you, you're alone. You don't know nothing about nothing. And perhaps if someone had mentioned that other people like to do it, get dressed up, what have you, feel like they're a different person, what have you, then I might have felt better, but I might have felt worse. I think it goes both ways. It's a very dichotomous conundrum, you might say. Because on one hand, it would be nice to know that I wasn't the only weirdo on the planet. On the other hand, if they had pushed the issue too far, like I said, I probably would have overcompensated. I would have been afraid to say anything. Because you can try to force people to be nice all you want, but it's got to happen naturally. It's got to be something that people slowly realize, and it's a better way to be. And I think anybody can get along with anybody as long as there's good communication. I really do. So I wanted to talk more about current events also. I didn't want to really get into this transgender business because it's been said, and everybody has to blow things out of proportion and either take it too far or take it, or, you know, gaslight, whatever. Say, you know, this is an anti-gay law, you can't say gay. I mean, you know, they make up stuff. I get tired of slogans that are made up out of whole cloth for effect. That's why both tribes are going to destroy themselves. Speaking of destroying ourselves, let's talk about Petri for a bit. He had a little speech about Putin's war and Putin's price hikes. So I'm sure that the staff and comfort of Petri Dish is very, very happy that Vladimir Putin was born, because he is the godsend. He is the guy they can blame for everything. I'm waiting to hear about Putin's border crisis in Mexico. I'm waiting to hear about Putin's fentanyl crisis. I'm waiting to hear about Putin's supply chain crisis. It's all going to be Putin's. So we may as well give him the world because everything is him. Now, there's a few holes in his figurings that I was getting on his how we're going to save money from using less fossil fuels. Now, first he says something about if you get solar panels and you get, solar or heating or electricity weatherized, then you're going to save $500 a month on energy. And I'm like thinking, well, if you're saving $500 a month, how much are you paying? Because my utility bills are high, but they're not that high. If I was paying $500 a month, I would probably, if you're saving $500, you're probably paying $1,000, okay? And I don't pay $1,000. If you're paying $1,000 for electricity and gas and whatever, then you probably live pretty high on the hog anyway. So I don't get that. And then he says you'll save $100 a year on your utility bill later on, which works out to about $8 a month. So it made no sense. Defense, I've issued a directive to use the defense supply chain for secure American supply chains for the critical material that goes into batteries for electric cars. So he's saying I'm going to use some sort of a defense supply chain initiative to guarantee that we get the nickel, lithium, and graphite that we need for the batteries, which we're going to need tons and tons and tons and tons of it. And it comes from our enemies. And I think there might be some lithium in Nevada, but they don't want to mine it because we don't want that kind of activity going on in America. It's unsightly to have a mine out in the middle of the Nevada desert, which I've seen many, many times. And believe me, a mine would be something to look at. It'd be like, oh, there's a nice tourist spot, a little scenic point. What do you call that? So he's out of it. We can get 10 miles more per gallon in 5 years. So we can look forward to that because he's going to mandate that all cars get 49 miles per gallon. Now that doesn't make sense because if my car got 49 miles per gallon, I'd get a lot more than 10 miles out of a gallon. 10 more miles, I'd get, quite a bit. And it's great, but the only way to do that from an engineering standpoint is to make lighter cars. And more unsafe cars and more fuel efficient cars that tend to be, you know what I mean? So we'll see how the American population goes for that. So I was kind of making fun of his figurings. What else did he say? He kept talking about Putin's price hikes and everything's Putin's fault. And I don't see the connection between a lot of things that have happened in Putin. But we will keep going on. I guess there's a little lull in the action. Not so many buildings are being blown up in Kyiv right now. So we can talk about the gas prices. They're going to go down, according to Petri. He's releasing more of the strategic oil reserves to bring the prices down 10 cents. At the same time, I think Putin's clamping down on even exporting oil. So he may be thinking, he can kind of put everybody's feet to the fire and see what happens. So Putin's price hikes, I can see 10 to 15 bucks a gallon, and I see people being apoplectic. And I wish I'd written more down, because if I don't write it down, if I write stuff down and I run out of stuff, then I don't know what I'm going to say next. What else happened in the news? Nothing really. Didn't see anything that caught my eye. I guess more of this Oscar thing, and we've talked about that. And some people are saying, that shouldn't have happened, and And, you know, the wokesters and the elitists are going to eat themselves. I think Chris Rock's career is taking off big time because that was the best thing that ever happened to him. Because people just want to be around where the action is, and the slap in the face was action. But nickel, lithium, and graphite, we need lots of it. I looked a little bit into the electric car thing, and it's not much safer than a regular car. And I think the environmental impact will be just as bad. And we'll see what happens with that. But, he was semi-articulate. He keeps mumbling over his words, even when he's reading. And so, I can't think of much else to say. I might not even post this because it's kind of boring. I didn't say anything. I had it all planned out, and I pretty much let it go. So I'll go off to work, and we'll make this a short one. I hope you enjoyed my ensemble. I'll just put it on for that, just to show that I know what I'm talking about. When it comes to these issues, I can shed a lot of light. And we'll go back and forth on that. Next time it rears its ugly head, we'll talk more about it. So have a good afternoon and enjoy the day.